The silence of the cosmos was broken by the soft hum of the spacecraft Endeavour as it navigated through the uncharted sector of the Milky Way. Inside the command module, the crew of 5, led by Commander Jack Harper, monitored their instruments with the practiced ease of seasoned astronauts. Reading an anomaly at 030 Mark II, announced Lieutenant Sarah Chun, her voice cutting through the low buzz of conversation. Jack leaned forward, peering at the data on the screen before him. Adjust trajectory, let's get a closer look. Mike, thoughts? Jack turned to his second-in-command, Michael Rogers, who was scrutinizing the sensor readings over Sarah's shoulder. Could be a magnetic field, but it's unlike anything we've encountered. I say we proceed with caution, Michael replied, his hand hovering over the manual control stick. As the Endeavour drew closer, a large, metallic structure, unlike any known human-made object, emerged from the darkness. It was clearly alien, and its size and design suggested it was not just a ship but possibly a mobile base or a gateway. Okay, team, let's keep this smooth and steady. Sarah, keep us at a safe distance. Paul, initiate first contact protocols, broadcast our standard greeting in all known languages, including mathematical sequences, Jack ordered, turning to Communications Officer Paul Liu. Broadcasting now, Paul confirmed, his fingers moving deftly over the controls. The crew waited in anticipation. Minutes passed with no response, but then, a series of low, rhythmic pulses emitted from the alien structure. The pulses weren't just random. They were clearly a form of communication. Receiving a transmission? Paul exclaimed. It's not in the database. I'll try to decode it. As Paul worked, a visual started forming on the main screen. A stunning display of colors and patterns that gradually coalesced into a form that resembled a face. This is incredible, whispered Emily Shaw, the science officer. It's like they're using a universal translator, but through visuals. The face on the screen became clearer, and then it spoke, its voice synthesized and echoing through the command module. Welcome, travelers from Earth. I am Azara, sovereign of the Valerian realm. You have reached the boundary of our space. Why have you come? Jack stepped forward, his posture respectful. Queen Azara, I am Commander Jack Harper of the vessel Endeavour. We are explorers, seeking to learn about the universe and establish peaceful contact with other civilizations. We mean no harm. Azara's image nodded slowly. Your journey is bold and filled with good intent. I invite you, Commander Harper, to come aboard our vessel so that we may learn from each other. Jack glanced at his crew, receiving nods of encouragement. We accept your gracious invitation, Queen Azara. I will come alone as a gesture of trust. Very well, Commander. We will prepare for your arrival. Azara out. As the screen went blank, the weight of the moment settled on Jack's shoulders. He turned to his crew, his expression a mix of resolve and awe. Mike, you have the con. Sarah, keep Endeavour in a holding pattern. Paul, Emily, start preparing a detailed report of everything so far. I want us ready for anything. Jack, be careful, Michael said, clapping him on the shoulder. I will. Let's make history, Jack replied, his voice steady and confident as he headed to the airlock to prepare for his transfer to the alien vessel. The possibility of what might come filled the Endeavour with a palpable excitement. As the shuttle detached and moved towards the Valerian ship, Jack looked back at the blue, that was Earth. Today, humanity would meet the universe face to face. Jack's shuttle docked smoothly with the Valerian vessel. The airlock door slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a corridor bathed in a gentle, pulsating light. As he stepped inside, he was greeted by 2 Valerian escorts, tall, slender beings with shimmering skin that seemed to change color with their mood. Welcome, Commander Harper. I am Tauren, and this is my colleague Sylvia. We will accompany you to the audience chamber, Tauren said, his voice melodious yet resonant. Thank you, Tauren, Sylvia. It's an honor to be here, Jack replied, following them down the corridor. His eyes wandered, taking in the sleek architecture and the soft, ambient sounds that filled the air, a stark contrast to the utilitarian design of human spacecraft. As they walked, Tauren engaged Jack in conversation. We have observed humans for some cycles now. Your species has a vast array of cultural practices. Which do you find most defining? Jack thought for a moment before responding. Our creativity, perhaps. Art, music, literature. These are things that not only entertain but also help us express and process our world. Fascinating, Sylvia murmured. Valerian culture also cherishes expression, but through technology and science. Our art is the art of creation in forms and functions. The trio arrived at the audience chamber, where Queen Azara awaited. The room was expansive, with walls that seemed to be alive, shifting in color and pattern. Azara stood from her throne as Jack approached, her presence imposing yet graceful. "Commander Harper, your arrival brings us great curiosity and hope for understanding," Azara said, extending her hand in a human gesture of greeting. Jack took her hand, surprised by the warmth of her touch. "Thank you, Queen Azara. The opportunity for our people to learn from each other is something I value deeply. Please, join me," Azara invited, leading him to a side chamber designed for more intimate discussions. They sat opposite each other, a low table between them. "I am intrigued by your concept of positions," Azara began, her tone inquisitive. "Positions in relationships, in society, in your personal interactions. How do they shape your world?" Jack chuckled softly. Positions can mean many things. Socially, they define roles and responsibilities. Personally, they can refer to physical or emotional stances we take in relationships. "And what of love?" Azara asked. "How do positions manifest in love?" In love, positions are both literal and metaphorical. They can represent the give and take between partners, the support one offers another, Jack explained, carefully navigating the nuances of his words. "Your words suggest a fluidity, a dance of sorts," Azara noted. "It is a beautiful concept." "It is," Jack agreed. "And often, it's how we find balance and harmony with each other." Azara leaned forward, her eyes reflecting a star-like light. "Would you be willing to demonstrate? Not now, but in a time and place where it feels right? I find the best way to understand is through experience." Jack felt a flutter of surprise at the request, but recognized the importance of such cultural exchanges. "Yes, when the time is right, I would be honored to share that aspect of human culture with you." "Excellent." Azara smiled, her entire demeanor brightening. "For now, let us continue our exchange in other ways. I am eager to show you the wonders of Valerian technology." As they rose from their seats, Jack felt a new chapter in human-alien relations beginning. This exchange was about more than just words. It was about building a bridge between two vastly different worlds with openness and respect at its core. Jack followed Azara through a series of winding corridors that led to what she referred to as the innovation wing of the Valerian vessel. The hallways expanded into open spaces filled with light and vibrant energy, each room dedicated to different technological explorations and advancements. "Your ship is remarkable," Jack commented, his gaze sweeping over a room where holograms danced in midair, displaying complex, three-dimensional structures. "It is the heart of our exploration fleet," Azara explained. "Here, we develop technologies that not only sustain our civilization, but also allow us to understand the universe." As they entered a large, dome-shaped room, another figure approached them. He was a Valerian, his height and bright silver eyes marking him as one of her advisors. "This is Kaylin, our Chief Technology Officer," Azara introduced. "Pleased to meet you, Commander Harper," Kaylin said, extending his hand in the human fashion. "The pleasure is mine, Kaylin. What do you have here?" Jack asked, shaking his hand. "This," Kaylin began, gesturing to a large spherical device in the center of the room, "is what we call the synth mind. It's an artificial intelligence designed to learn from various life forms and adapt technological solutions based on that learning." "Artificial intelligence? We have similar technology," Jack noted, "but it sounds like yours is a few steps ahead." Kaylin smiled. "Perhaps we can share knowledge. What is your primary use of AI?" "We use it mostly for data analysis and to assist with piloting spacecraft. But integrating it with learning from life forms is not something we've fully explored yet," Jack admitted. Azara and Kaylin exchanged a glance, a silent communication passing between them. "Then let's set up a demonstration. We can start with a simple exchange. Your AI's data handling protocols against our synth mind's adaptive algorithms," suggested Kaylin. That sounds like a great plan. I'm sure there's a lot we can learn from each other, Jack responded enthusiastically. The trio moved to a nearby interface station where Kaylin initiated the synth mind. Screens flickered to life, showing streams of data flowing in mesmerizing patterns. Here, synth mind is now in learning mode. If you could provide us with some standard data sets from Endeavor, we can begin, Kaylin instructed. Jack nodded, tapping his communicator. Harper to Endeavor. Mike, can you send over the encrypted datasets for environmental and navigation analyses? Roger that, Jack. Sending now, Michael's voice responded, crisp and clear. As the data transferred, Kaylin explained the process. SynthMind will now analyze how your AI processes this information, then attempt to improve the efficiency based on our algorithms. Jack watched, fascinated as the AI quickly adapted and began optimizing the data handling in ways he hadn't seen before. This is impressive. Your synth mind seems to understand our AI structure almost intuitively. It's one of our most advanced creations. But this is just the beginning, Commander. We hope this exchange will lead to greater collaboration, Azara said, her voice full of promise. I have no doubt it will, Jack agreed, looking between Azara and Kaylin. This is exactly the kind of cooperation that can lead to a lasting friendship between our peoples. The session continued with further demonstrations and discussions about potential applications of the combined technology. As the day drew to a close, Jack felt a deep sense of accomplishment. Not only were they breaking new ground in technology, but they were also forging new pathways in interstellar relations. As they parted ways for the evening, Azara's parting words echoed in Jack's mind. Trust is built in moments like these, Commander. Walking back to his quarters aboard the Valerian vessel, Jack couldn't help but feel optimistic about the future. The bridge they were building was not just technological but also deeply human, or rather interstellar, in its reach and implications. After a day filled with technological collaboration and learning, Jack was invited to join Queen Azara for a private dinner in one of the more secluded areas of the Valerian vessel. The dining room was softly lit, with walls that gently pulsed with a calming, bluish hue that mimicked the natural light of Valeria's twin moons. Commander Harper, I hope the day's events have been enlightening for you, Azara said as they settled into their seats across from each other. They have been, indeed, Queen Azara. I'm amazed by what your people have achieved, Jack replied, accepting a crystal-like goblet filled with a glowing amber liquid. And this, he gestured with the goblet, is quite intriguing. It's a traditional Valerian drink, made from the nectar of the florin tree. It's quite rejuvenating, Azara explained, her eyes reflecting the light of the drink. As they sipped, the first course was served, small, delicate appetizers that seemed to melt in the mouth, each bite bursting with flavor. Jack complimented the unique taste, leading to a conversation about Valerian agriculture and cuisine. Your openness to our customs and your eagerness to learn about our ways is commendable, Azara said, observing Jack's genuine interest. It's part of being a good explorer, I believe. Understanding and respecting each other's cultures is essential, Jack responded. I agree. Which brings me to a matter I've been curious about, Azara began, her tone shifting slightly. You mentioned earlier that human relationships, especially those involving love, often involve physical and emotional positions. I find this concept fascinating. Jack set his goblet down, sensing the depth of the conversation they were about to embark on. Yes, relationships can be quite complex. The physical aspect is just one part, but it's an important part for many. Azara nodded thoughtfully. In Valerian culture, relationships are more cerebral. We connect deeply on an intellectual level. Emotional and physical connections are not emphasized as much. That's quite different from human culture. For us, the emotional and physical connections often strengthen our bonds, making the relationship more resilient and dynamic, Jack explained. I am curious about these connections, Azara said, her voice cautious but curious. Would you be willing to share more about this? Perhaps even demonstrate the physical aspect? I believe experiencing this could provide a deeper understanding. Jack paused, considering the implications. He respected Azara and wanted to foster mutual understanding. I'd be honored to share that part of our culture with you. It's a significant aspect of human interaction, and sharing it can be very enlightening. Thank you, Commander, Azara said, a smile gracing her features. I value your trust in this matter. The rest of the dinner passed with lighter conversation, both of them discussing the upcoming plans for further cultural exchanges. As they concluded their meal, Azara stood and offered her hand to Jack. Let us continue our discussion tomorrow. I will arrange for a comfortable environment where we can explore these human expressions safely and respectfully, she proposed. Jack took her hand, feeling the warmth and slight tremble of anticipation. I look forward to it, Queen Azara. Thank you for being so welcoming and open-minded. As Jack returned to his quarters, he reflected on the evening. The upcoming demonstration would not just be about sharing a physical experience, but about bridging worlds through the most intimate aspects of human culture. It was a responsibility he did not take lightly, but he believed in the potential of this exchange to deepen the already growing bond between their two species. Jack arrived at the designated chamber Azara had prepared for their cultural exchange, a room filled with soft, ambient light and furnishings that suggested both comfort and privacy. Azara greeted him with a nod, her demeanor calm yet clearly anticipative of the new experience. Commander Harper, I've taken the liberty to ensure our privacy and comfort for today's session. I hope the setting meets your approval, Azara said, gesturing to the serene surroundings. It's perfect, Queen Azara. Thank you for considering these aspects so thoughtfully, Jack replied, observing the soft cushions and low, comfortable seating arranged in the room. Azara motioned for him to sit beside her on a plush mat designed for their meeting. As they settled down, the initial silence between them was filled with mutual respect and a hint of curiosity about the unfolding moments. I must admit, this is quite new to me, Azara began, her voice soft. In Valerian culture, physical touch is not common in the way it is among humans. Jack nodded, understanding the gravity of the moment for her. It's similar for some humans too, but it's also a natural way for many of us to express and receive affection. Shall we start with something simple, like a handshake or a hug? A hug, I think. I've read about them, Azara responded, a trace of amusement in her tone. All right, Jack said with a gentle smile. He explained the process. It's a gesture of friendship and trust among humans. You simply open your arms, and so will I, and we gently wrap them around each other. Azara mirrored his movements, tentatively opening her arms as Jack did the same. As they embraced, Jack was careful to maintain a respectful firmness. Azara's body relaxed slightly after a moment, and she let out a soft sigh. It's warmer than I expected, she commented as they stepped back. It can be quite comforting, Jack acknowledged. It's about sharing space and warmth with someone you trust. I can see the appeal, Azara admitted. She paused before continuing. What is the next step in human intimacy? Jack considered how to proceed, mindful of her comfort and curiosity. Perhaps a simple hand-holding? It's another way humans connect. It can be very soothing. Let's try that, she agreed. They extended their hands, palms touching lightly. Jack gently closed his fingers around hers, showing her the typical human grip. Azara's hand was cool but quick to adapt, her grip firm yet cautious. As we continue, Jack began, it's common for humans to express closeness through more personal touches, like caressing the arm or the face. It's a sign of deep affection and care. May I? Azara asked, reaching out tentatively to touch his cheek. Her touch was exploratory, almost feather-light. Yes, you may, Jack responded, maintaining eye contact to reassure her. Their interactions grew more confident, with Azara exploring these new forms of expression. They continued with gentle touches and whispered conversations about each gesture's meaning and context in human relationships. As the session drew to a close, Azara spoke thoughtfully. This has been an enlightening experience, Commander. I feel a greater understanding of human expressions of affection. I'm glad to hear that, Jack said, feeling a sense of accomplishment and connection. It's been an honor to share this part of our culture with you, Queen Azara. As they left the chamber, there was a new level of understanding between them, a testament to the power of cultural exchange and the human need for connection. Azara's curiosity about human intimacy had been met with respect and openness, paving the way for further exchanges and deeper mutual understanding. Over the next few days, Jack and Azara continued their exploration of human and Valerian cultural practices. Their sessions grew deeper, focusing on the nuances of emotional connections and how these are expressed through physical gestures. Today, they plan to explore the cultural significance of dance in human relationships, a topic Jack was particularly excited to share. As Jack arrived at the usual meeting chamber, he found Azara already there, her expression one of keen interest. "Commander Harper, I've been looking forward to today's session. You mentioned dance, something we Valerians find intriguing but seldom practice ourselves. Dance is a powerful form of expression among humans," Jack explained as he approached her. "It combines movement, music, and often, emotion. It can be celebratory, solemn, or intimate, depending on the context." Azara's eyes lit up with curiosity. "And is it always performed in pairs?" "Often, but not always. Partner dancing, however, is a profound way to connect, physically and emotionally. Would you like to try a simple dance?" "Yes, I would," Azara replied, standing with a graceful fluidity that seemed inherent to her species. Jack selected a slow, melodic piece of music from his device, something universal and not too complex. "We'll start with something simple, a waltz. It's traditionally danced to a rhythm of 3 beats. He demonstrated the basic steps, counting out loud, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. After a few moments of watching, Azara nodded, stepping forward to join him. "Place your hand here," Jack directed, guiding her hand to his shoulder while he placed his on her waist, maintaining a respectful distance. "And we hold our other hands like this," he continued, lifting their joined hands slightly. As the music filled the room, they began to move in time with the gentle rhythm. Azara was a quick learner. Her movements soon matched Jack's in fluidity and rhythm. "This feels different than I expected," Azara confessed as they glided across the floor. "There's a harmony to it, a synchronization that feels quite intimate." "It's about finding a balance," Jack explained, leading them through a turn. "Each person supports the other, responds to their movements. It's a lot like how we communicate and connect in more personal relationships." Azara's focus was intense, her gaze rarely leaving their intertwined hands. "I can see how this would build trust and understanding between partners. It's quite beautiful." They continued dancing until the music stopped, then stepped apart with mutual smiles. "Thank you, Jack. This has given me much to think about. The role of physical closeness in building connections." "My pleasure, Azara. Sharing this part of human culture with you has been very rewarding," Jack said, feeling a sense of fulfillment in bridging their worlds through such a universal activity. As they prepared to leave the room, Azara paused. "These sessions, we are learning about each other's cultures, but also about each other. I find this exchange deeply enriching." "So do I," Jack agreed, acknowledging the unique bond forming between them. "It goes beyond simple diplomacy or curiosity. It's about understanding at a more profound level." "Indeed, it is," Azara affirmed. "Shall we continue tomorrow?" "Absolutely," Jack replied, already considering what other aspects of human culture might resonate with the Valerian perspective. As Jack left the chamber, he reflected on the progress they had made. Not only were they exploring each other's cultures, but they were also paving the way for a deeper, more meaningful collaboration between their peoples. Each step, each dance move, each conversation brought them closer to a mutual respect and understanding that transcended their differences. After several sessions of cultural exchange, Jack and Azara chose to spend a day reflecting on their shared experiences in one of the Valerian ship's many tranquil gardens. The garden was a breathtaking array of bioluminescent plants and gravity-defying water features, creating a serene atmosphere perfect for deep conversation. As we continue to share and learn from each other, I find myself increasingly fascinated by the depth and complexity of human emotion, Azara began, her voice echoing slightly in the open space. "It's a core part of who we are," Jack replied, taking a seat beside her on a floating bench that gently swayed with the ship's subtle movements. "Emotions drive much of our art, our decisions, even our relationships." Azara nodded thoughtfully. "In Valerian culture, We often prioritize intellectual and technological achievements over emotional expressions. Our discussions have opened my eyes to the importance of balance. Jack smiled, pleased with the impact of their exchanges. Balance is key, yes, just like in the dances we shared. Without balance, the movements would not be as graceful or effective. Exactly, Azara agreed, turning to face him more directly. Speaking of balance, I've been considering how we might further integrate the insights from these cultural sessions into Valerian society. Perhaps starting with incorporating more human-like expressions of emotion in our educational systems. That sounds like a significant step, Jack said, impressed by her initiative. Incorporating emotional intelligence can deeply enrich personal and professional interactions, as I believe it has enriched our interactions, Azara added, her tone warm. Jack, your openness has not only educated me but also touched me personally. I find great value in the honesty and vulnerability you've shown. Jack felt a surge of gratification, knowing his efforts had genuinely reached her. Thank you, Azara. That means a lot to me. I've also learned from you about precision, clarity, and the beauty of a well-organized system. It's fascinating how our differences can lead to such productive discoveries about ourselves and each other. Azara paused, looking around at the glowing flora. This garden, for instance, is engineered for tranquility and reflection. Yet now, I see it could also be a place for emotional exploration, not just intellectual. It's beautiful, Jack commented, taking in the soothing sights and sounds. A perfect place for contemplation and growth. Yes, and perhaps for future human-Valerian collaborations as well, Azara proposed. Would you consider staying longer, Jack? There is much more we could accomplish together. Jack considered her offer seriously. The thought of extending his stay to foster deeper ties and further collaboration was enticing. I would like that very much. There's still so much to learn, and I believe we're on the brink of something truly beneficial for both our peoples. Then let us plan for that, Azara said decisively. And let's ensure that these cultural exchanges continue, perhaps involving more of our people. What we've started here could well be the groundwork for a lasting friendship. I agree, Jack said. Let's make it happen. The potential is enormous. As they concluded their reflective discussion, they stood and walked together through the garden, each step reinforcing the bond they had built. The future held promise, and the path they were charting, one of mutual respect, learning, and shared emotional landscapes, was just beginning. Their talks had not only bridged their cultural divides, but also sown the seeds for a profound partnership that could one day benefit the wider universe. On the final day of Jack's initial visit, he and Azara met in the conference room where their first meeting had taken place, now filled with a sense of familiarity and mutual respect. They were joined by Lin, the Valerian Chief Technology Officer, to discuss the practical outcomes of Jack's extended stay and the future collaborative projects. Commander Harper, Queen Azara, Lin greeted them, his voice reflecting his enthusiasm for the progress they had made. I've reviewed the proposals for our joint ventures, and I'm excited about the potential. Thank you, Lin. We've come up with some promising ideas, Jack responded, spreading out some data pads on the table with outlines of their planned initiatives. Azara took a moment to look over the documents. These projects, ranging from technology sharing to cultural exchanges, are a testament to the bridges we've built. Jack, your insights have been invaluable. Jack nodded, feeling a sense of accomplishment. It's been an extraordinary journey. I believe these projects will not only enhance our understanding, but also bring tangible benefits to both our peoples. Kaylin pointed to one of the data pads. I'm particularly intrigued by the educational exchange program. Valerian students learning about human emotional intelligence could revolutionize our approach to education, and I'm equally interested in the technology transfer proposal, Jack added, especially the adaptation of the synth mind technology with our AI systems. There's a lot we can do together. Azara smiled, pleased with the direction of their discussion. It seems we are set for a fruitful collaboration. Jack, are there any additional resources or support you will need from us for these initiatives? Your continued openness and willingness to engage are the most crucial resources, Jack replied. But logistically, having a dedicated liaison team on both sides would help manage and expedite our efforts. Consider it done, Azara affirmed. Kaylin, could you coordinate with your team to set this up? Certainly, Queen Azara, Kaylin said, typing a note into his device. We'll ensure everything is in place for a seamless collaboration. As the meeting drew to a close, Azara stood and extended her hand to Jack. Commander Harper, this is not just a farewell but a commencement of a deeper alliance. Jack took her hand, feeling the strength and warmth of her grip. Thank you, Queen Azara. I look forward to every step we will take together. After the official farewells, Jack prepared to return to the Endeavor. As he walked towards the shuttle bay, he reflected on the time spent aboard the Valerian vessel. The experiences had changed him, broadening his perspective and deepening his appreciation for the complexities of interstellar diplomacy and friendship. Back on the Endeavor, as the ship began its journey back to Earth, Jack reported to his crew. We've laid the groundwork for something significant. Our mission here has been a success, and the future looks promising. Sounds like we have a lot to look forward to, sir. Michael, his second-in-command, responded, a note of excitement in his voice. Yes, we do. Let's get home and start preparing. There's much to be done, and I can't wait to see where this leads us, Jack concluded, gazing out into the stars, a vast universe of possibilities unfolding before him. As the Endeavor made its way back through the stars, the lights of Valaria dimmed behind them, but the connection and the commitment they had fostered promised a new era of cooperation and mutual growth.